Hello and welcome to the Beyond Average Journeys of Growth and Increasing Value interview series. I'm your host, Kristen Carlson, and today I'm joined by Daniel Santos, CEO at Prepory in Miami, Florida. So, Daniel, thanks for joining me today.
Thank you, Kristen, for having me. I'm excited to chat with you.
Awesome. Well, I'm excited to learn a little bit about you and your business. Could you just share a little of your background with us?
Sure. So, as you said, I'm the CEO of Prepory. Prepory is a college admissions and career coaching company. Through our college admissions and career coaching practice, we've worked with over 14,000 individuals since our inception. We work with students and families in over 40 different countries.
Um,
Uh, in terms of our programming, it's, you know, really special and individualized to each of our unique students or the professionals that we're serving, whether that be through career transitions. We worked with folks from sort of all over the planet and all different walks of life in terms of we have sort of B2B partnerships that are with high schools that are serving low income students from underrepresented backgrounds to students through that we're working with through sort of large nonprofit NGOs. So, and then individual families and professionals that we serve through our college admissions and coaching, our career coaching practices. So, it's really cool work that we do. We have an awesome team here, and it's been a fun ride.
So, how did this business get started?
Yeah, it's a great question. I'm one of the co-founders. Actually, my co-founder, Tony, he and I went to the same elementary school, middle school, and high school, and been
Oh,
known each other for quite a long time. And while we loved our school and we had incredible staff and loving teachers and really supportive counselors, and of course, that high school changed the trajectory of our lives, right? I wouldn't have had a prep if I didn't have Tony, and I wouldn't have had him if we didn't go to the same school. And essentially, while we knew each other at these schools and we were both like high academically performing students, our school itself didn't have, strong counseling resource to help kids like us get into some of the best, most selective universities in the country. And so when Tony was a junior, we had one teacher, was like our only teacher that went to like an Ivy League school, went to Harvard, and he met him. And this teacher sort of really inspired Tony and sort of catalyzed his own academic journey. And that piqued Tony's interest into sort of elite colleges and universities. Uh, Fast forward to the end of 12th grade, Tony got into UPenn, it's an Ivy League school in Philadelphia. He was a Questbridge scholar, which means he got a full ride just for sort of low income students at the school. They paid for everything, his tuition, his
wow.
housing, flights to and from. And that Questbridge sort of scholarship and that experience at Penn really changed Tony's life. And when he got to the university, it just was something out of a movie. He just couldn't have imagined this reality for himself because just no one that we knew ever sort of walked those halls, if you will. And when he was there, he started talking with his peers and his friends and saying, like, hey, man, it's this place is amazing. It's so crappy that it's so hard to get into this place. And so one of his friends responded, in short, well, what do you mean? You do good in school, you do what your school counselor says, and that's it. You get into Penn. Through more conversations and over time getting to know the students there, he realized the students, at Penn were totally different from him in terms of background. That friend of his went to a private Jewish day school where tuition was like $70,000. And that experience was just totally different than what Tony and I had experienced at our school. By the time Tony graduated, that sort of was the birth story of Prepory. He wanted to specifically be able to give back to students like us, like our community that were just academically high achieving and just as capable, but didn't even know that these opportunities existed. Sort of, again, Prepory came from there. Tony started serving one student, two students, three students. And when we were ready to scale, that's when sort of I came into the picture. We had always been friends, stayed super close throughout our college experience, despite going to different schools. Um, and then, Tony approached me and said, hey, I want to start this thing Prepper. I want to turn it from just like a me operation to a real scalable business. And sort of after a lot of badgering and a few insistent conversations, I decided to put pause on my law school dreams and jump on this journey. I think it was the best decision I ever made.
That's
Um, and it's been an awesome experience.
awesome. And I saw on your site or that you have like 30 employees already. So you've really grown this business beyond the two of you.
Yeah, we have probably across our whole head count about 60 some odd employees,
Wow, that's
about little 30 plus full timers on the team, which is really special. But something that I love about our story is that we aren't VC backed. We've never raised any money. All of our growth has been sustainable, organic, and over time, which has been really special for us as sort of a team to be able to see this grow week over week, month over month, year over year through, the efforts that, us as a collective are pouring into the organization. And also to do so in a way that sort of protects people. We've never had to lay anyone off or make the sort of difficult people decisions that sometimes when you're VC backed or even service quality decisions, I think maybe challenge your ability to do those things.
so are you working in low income areas? I mean, is that your target client? You're really trying to help these kids that don't have the
So
benefits of
yeah,
wealthier children?
great question. Not necessarily. We work with students all over the sort of socioeconomic spectrum. So, and I can talk a little bit more about that. And we do this in several ways. The way that we primarily reach our students from low socioeconomic backgrounds or underrepresented, low income students is through B2B partnerships or business to really high school partnerships. So we partner with a series of public schools and public charter schools all over South Florida, Nevada, even in Ohio, hopefully in Texas soon. And actually, the payer in that instance is the school. And so we provide additional resources in terms of things like personal statement boot camps, freshman foundation workshops, a bunch of different college admissions geared workshops to supplement the resources of these high schools to really hone in on this aspect of the sort of school counseling department. And again, because the school is the payer in that instance, really the student's ability to pay is indifferent. Um, is sort of irrelevant, if you will, sorry, in this model, and it really allows us to reach those students. In addition to that, we have a scholarships program where we work with about 80 pro bono students that we're providing free services to, the exact same services that we offer to all of our, individual paying families to that population. And then we have our individual model where we are working with, for example, Kristen, if you had a son or daughter and you said, hey, I would love for my son or daughter to, they really want to get into the PPE program at UPenn. Would you help us? And, she's a sophomore. How can we prep? We get started. We develop a college admissions, extracurricular profile, a college list, and sort of the whole 9 yards of what it takes to get into a school with an acceptance rate below 5%.
Wow. And you know kind of the tricks of the trade of how to get into these schools that are tough for the average kid to get into.
Yeah. And the truth is, it changes year over year. And every year it seems like it's getting more competitive. I think our industry and like most things in life really changed after 2020 pandemic. And that's really sort of, I think, informed how we do our counseling. And I think that really sort of radicalized the acceptance rates at some of these schools or really decreased them because while sort of applications at maybe non-selective state schools or community colleges or that sort of caliber of school, applications to those schools really decreased. The applications to higher selectivity schools really increased because of the introduction of test optional policies and sort of more of this unknown factor.
Okay. It sounds like it's gone a lot more complex since when I went to college and you just
Oh, yeah.
application. It sounds like you put together a whole package where they can market themselves to a university.
Yeah. And that's sort of essentially what we do. We work with high school students as early as ninth grade. We work with students in the transfer process. So maybe if you wanted to transfer from UNC to Vanderbilt or NYU to Brown, We work with also graduate admissions, students who are looking to maybe they've graduated, they've been in the business for 2 years, and they're ready to get their MBA, or maybe someone just wrapping up undergrad wants to pursue a PhD in philosophy or theology. We'd support that type of client.
Awesome. So as a leader of this company, going from the two of you to growing, with 30, 60 plus, what was some of the steps you had to make with being the doer in the company to now starting to lead people?
Yeah, that's a great question. And I think the way I'm wired is I'm very much a doer. So it's always been difficult for me to sort of move out of the operation side of things. And especially now where we have more dedicated directors and leadership, sort of really catalyze that transition. I think a few things that are important to me when sort of making that transition or sort of peeling back and from certain departments is one thing that has made that easy is for the most part all of the people who are currently a director level or manager level at Prepory was really a promotion from within. So our marketing director was maybe employee number 4 at Prepory and has been with us for 7 years. Started off as an intern, became a marketing coordinator, became a marketing manager, all the way through now their marketing director role here at Prepory. And we've really been able to sort of together see this organization grow and be a part of that. And I think that really builds a lot of trust, which is what you want with from your leadership staff in your organization. And same is true for sort of our program director. Actually, our program director, and this is sort of bleeds into how their team really operates and grows is really special, is our program director started off as a part-time college admissions coach at Prepory, grew to a full-time college admissions coach after a few months, then was promoted to a program manager role, and then eventually promoted to an interim program director, and eventually our formal program director. And this sort of internal promotion is really quintessential to how we operate here at Prepory. We're really people driven and we got an incredible team here. And we're always looking to sort of grow our team members from within. And that I think, again, has just really, led to great experiences for the staff that are on the team who have also been promoted, and also creates sort of more buy-in from staff who, are seeing other team members get promoted because of their great work, which is really special.
Right. And I think they have this career path, right, where they know that there is another step for them and they can see how they can grow in their career at your company. So that's excellent. So do you think that's a part of your culture, or how would you describe the culture of your business?
Yeah, that's a great question. I definitely think that's a part of our culture. The way I typically describe our culture, is warm and badass. I'm not sure if I can say the second one, but it's usually how I describe us. I think one of the things that you'll hear from our staff that you'll experience when engaging with Prepory is people are just sort of excited by the work that they're doing. They're really excited to be working with students or moving the needle when it comes to, enrolling new families or growing website traffic for the marketing department. They're really excited about their work and sort of that the ability to be able to see, change in a very specific and tangible way through their unique efforts, for their department or what their, different objectives are. Also, our team is very collaborative in nature. Folks, we have a really active sort of all coaches chat where all of the different, 45 odd coaches who are working with students sort of are just asking questions to each other all day. And a bunch of people jump in to say like, hey, I had that experience, or hey, my student is also interviewing for that. Let's strategize on how we can support them. These types of things is sort of very representative of Prepory. And I think that badassness is, I think, just the quality of our support and the dedication of our team is just unmatched. Some of the things that, we'll typically say is like, you cannot outcare Prepory. That's just where I think we beat out every competitor. We just cannot be outcared. in terms of how committed we are to our families, how committed we are to just doing great by the students that we serve, and keeping our promises both internally to each other as like a team, and then externally to the families and students that we serve.
Right. And that's such a great mission, right? I think they can all get behind that and you know that you're making a difference in somebody's life. I mean, that's got to be truly rewarding.
Yeah, we're blessed to sort of work in a mission-driven space. I think another thing, actually, one of my colleagues tends to say this is oftentimes our industry can be a little bit toxic because, we are sometimes, not all of our students, but a lot of our students are targeting, T10, T20 schools, some of the most selective universities. And for better or worse, chances are for worse, in most cases, students sort of find a lot of value or assign a lot of value to themselves based on what schools they get into. And I think what our team really helps our students do is sort of realize that this is just a part of, your story, and whether you got into Brown or didn't get into Brown, you're still sort of valuable and special, and all of the efforts that that you put in to sort of get to even go through this application to process to be so academically stellar is what really counts. And I think we really do this in a way that's, again, student centric and human driven. And I think one of the things that we hear from clients all the time, which is just so special to me, is, and you'll see this thread in all of our public Google reviews for the most part. I'm so happy that I got in as myself. I wasn't required to fabricate an identity to present something that wasn't me. It was me in my truest form that was admitted to Yale or Princeton or University of Florida honors, if that's your goal. And even parents sort of say, I get emotional reading through my kids' admissions profile because, yeah, that's who they are. And it's so special to see that sort of you being admitted not in spite of who you are, but because of it. And I think that's another thing that's quite unique to Prepory.
Awesome. And I think, I mean, thank you for giving these kids that education and just that they are special and they are good. And it's not all about the title, right? So the title of the school you're going in, because they need it. I think our kids are really very internally focused these days and dealing with anxiety and depression that I don't think we dealt with back as widespread as I think it is now. So thank you for what you're doing to help support them. It seems like you're standing them up and putting them on a good path for their future. So
That's what we hope.
awesome. Well, so anything else? I mean, you've given me a couple great things that definitely make your business beyond average. Is there anything else you would add?
Yeah, that is a great question. I think another thing that um, I believe we do really well here, and it's hard to explain this tangibly, is we do culture really, really well. At least I think we do, and that's the feedback we get from our staff. Twice a year we bring together all of our staff for an annual retreat that is, meant to be like work, but is very little work. It's just opportunity to build connections with your colleagues, to meet people who maybe aren't in your department that you've heard of, to just, create relationships with those people, to sort of, and another thing that we really do is we hear this from a lot of our staff and is we empower all of our staff to have opinions, to share their thoughts. If you think this one thing that we're doing could be better, even if you're not on that team, suggest it. Reach out to those team members. And you'll see a lot of this sort of collaboration, folks from our program team reaching out to marketing saying, like, hey, I know that we're doing this for as a marketing strategy, but have you guys ever considered this? From one of the conversations I'm having from my students and their parents, this seems like to be more representative of what they care about. And sort of, and a lot of our staff just oftentimes will say things like, it's just cool that I get to build this business and sort of grow this just as much as, people who maybe have been here longer than me, who maybe are senior to me, just because I get to have an opinion, I get to have a voice. And I think
Awesome.
that buy-in is really special.
Awesome. Well, congratulations. Sounds like you've built a great company. I mean, what is next? What are some of your big goals?
Yeah, that's a great question. A few things. One of those specifically is we want to continue to really intentionally grow our graduate admissions practice. This practice is a little newer than our undergraduate admissions practice, so we're really looking to work with more individuals across the entire gamut of graduate programs, whether that be MBA track, PhDs, professional school, UK or US masters. That's something that sort of a big focus point for us. We also are really excited to break into hopefully some new markets. So, in terms of domestically, we do really, really well. Internationally, work with families in over 41 different countries, but we'd love to break into new international markets, whether that be sort of like the uh, Gulf Coast, that sort of region of the world. Also break into further into the Asian markets. We've done better in Western Europe, which is interesting because this our industry is not very big in Western Europe. So we'd love to just do a little bit more work in that portion of the world, and also to be able to just really level up the sort of counseling that we provide. I think in the world of, AI and growing tech solutions, our goal is to, double, triple, and quadruple down on humanity and a human-driven admissions process, and not an AI or, statistic caring about you, but really your counselor being invested in your success, meeting you with you every other week to develop your admissions profile, to hear what you care about outside of your academics, because all of these things ultimately is what shapes your competitiveness. And you're not being admitted by a AI tool or a tech powered robot. You're being admitted by a human being on the other side that really wants to get to know students that they're excited about.
Awesome. Well, thank you. And thank you for making a difference in these kids' lives. I'm sure they'll come back and really give you, I'm sure you get some feedback, but even after they go through school, I'm sure you get some great results from them. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Kristen. And thank you for this conversation today. I had a lot of fun sharing a little bit about Prepory, and I hope the listeners enjoy it as well.
Yes, me too. And thank you so much. And everyone watching, we'll see you on our next episode.